After accident, the morning sun hits the rusted gates of the Adebayor mansion, but the light doesn't reach the inside. Outside, a small crowd of villagers stands in silence, watching an expensive black car speed away. They whisper about the living ghost in the attic. They remember when Kofi Adebayor was a giant, a man who built hospitals and schools. Now he is just a name on a bank account that his fiancée Zola is draining dry. Inside the master bedroom, the air is heavy and stale. Kofi sits in a wheelchair, his body frozen, his eyes the only part of him that can still move. He watches Zola as she stands before a full-length mirror, draped in a silk gown that cost more than a village house. She doesn't look at him. She talks to her reflection. Before we dive into the next chapter of this incredible journey, I have a quick question for you. Where are you watching this video right now? Let me know your city or country in the comments below. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Now let's get back to the estate. The gala is at 8, Kofi. Don't look at me with those pathetic eyes. You're lucky I haven't moved you to the servants' quarters yet. You're just furniture now. Expensive, broken furniture. She laughs, a cold sound that echoes off the marble walls, and walks out, slamming the door. Kofi is left in the shadows. He is hungry, his throat is parched, and his dignity is a distant memory. He closes his eyes, wishing for the end. The door creaks open again. It isn't Zola. It's Nia, a young woman in a faded apron who was hired just 2 days ago to scrub the floors. She carries a basin of warm water and a small bowl of porridge. She doesn't look at him with pity, she looks at him with respect. Good morning, sir. The birds are singing loud today. I thought you might want to hear them. She walks to the heavy velvet curtains and pulls them wide, letting the golden light flood the room. Kofi winces, but Nia is already by his side. She dips a clean cloth into the warm water, scented with wild lavender she picked from the garden. My grandmother always said that a man's spirit is like a fire. Sometimes the wood is wet and the flame goes small, but the heat is still there. I can see your heat, Mr. Kofi. She begins to wash his hands with the tenderness of a mother holding a child. She talks to him about the village, about the weather, and about the books she dreams of reading. For the first time in months, someone is speaking to Kofi, not at him. As the weeks pass, Nia becomes his silent protector. While Zola is out at parties, plotting with Kofi's business rival Marcus to sell off his company, Nia is in the room performing a different kind of work. She finds his old physical therapy manuals. She moves his legs, she massages his stiff muscles, and she reads him his own old business journals to remind him of who he was. One afternoon, while Nia is reading a poem about a lion in the tall grass, Zola storms in. She is furious because a diamond necklace she wanted was too expensive, according to the bank. She sees Nia holding Kofi's hand. What are you doing, you peasant? Get away from him. He's a vegetable. You're wasting time you should be using to wax the stairs. Nia stands tall, not letting go of Kofi's hand. He's a human being, ma'am. And he is still the master of this house. Zola laughs, stepping close to Nia. He is nothing. By next month, the papers will be signed, he'll be in a government ward, and I'll be the richest widow in this country without even needing a funeral. Now get out. Zola grabs a glass of water from the bedside table and throws it in Kofi's face just to show her power. She leaves, her heels clicking like a countdown to his destruction. Nia doesn't cry. She wipes Kofi's face. She looks into his eyes and sees a spark, a flicker of pure, concentrated rage. Do you feel that, sir? That anger? Use it. They think you are a ghost. Show them you are a king. That night, in the dark, Nia feels a sudden pressure on her palm. She looks down. Kofi's thumb is pressing against her skin. It is small, it is weak, but it is a beginning. In the downstairs study, Zola and Marcus are clinking glasses. They have the forged power of attorney papers ready. They don't know that upstairs the broken furniture is starting to wake up. They don't know that the maid they treated like dirt has become the general of a silent army. The story of the billionaire is no longer a tragedy of a crash. It is now a war of the heart. Zola has the money, but Nia has the man. And as the moon rises over the Adebayor estate, the lion in the chair prepares to roar. The moon hangs low over the Adebayor mansion, casting long, jagged shadows across the marble floors. Downstairs, the clinking of crystal glasses and the low, predatory laughter of Zola and Marcus fill the study. They are celebrating a victory they haven't yet won. Zola holds a fountain pen like a weapon, hovering it over the forged power of attorney documents. By tomorrow morning, the board will vote. With these papers, I'll have the controlling interest. We'll move him to the clinic in the mountains by noon. No visitors. No meddling maids. And the girl? Nia? She's seen too much, Zola. She looks at him like he's still a man. That's dangerous. She's a peasant, Marcus. I'll toss her a few coins and kick her to the curb. She'll be back in her village washing clothes before the sun sets. Upstairs, the room is silent, save for the heavy, rhythmic breathing of a man who is no longer just waiting to die. Nia is kneeling by Kofi's chair, her hands wrapped around his cold, stiff fingers. She isn't praying anymore. She is training. Concentrate, sir. Don't think about the pain. Think about the boardroom. Think about the schools you built. Think about the woman downstairs who called you furniture. Kofi's face is slick with sweat. His jaw is clamped so tight the muscles in his neck are bulging. He is fighting a war against his own nerves. Slowly, agonizingly, his right index finger lifts a fraction of an inch off the armrest. Then it drops. Again. He tries again. This time the finger stays up for 3 seconds. A low, guttural growl escapes his throat. It isn't a word yet, but it is a sound of pure defiance. Nia wipes his brow with a cool cloth, her heart hammering against her ribs. He knows the clock is ticking. She saw the legal envelopes on the hall table. She knows Zola is planning to move him. We don't have much time. They want to take you away where no one can hear you. But they've forgotten one thing. You still own the security system in this house. You told me once that you designed the encryption yourself. Kofi's eyes widen. He looks toward the small bedside console, a sleek black device that controls the entire estate's smart network. It has been dormant since the accident because Zola never bothered to learn how to use it. If you can reach that console, if you can just touch the biometric sensor, you can lock them out. You can call the authorities. You can show the world you are awake. Kofi looks at the console. It is 3 feet away. To a healthy man it is nothing. To him it is a mountain peak. Suddenly the door swings open. Zola stands there, smelling of expensive wine and malice. She looks at Nia, then at Kofi, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. Why are you still here? I told you to clean the kitchen. And why is he sweating like a pig? Nia stands up, hiding Kofi's hand behind her dress. He has a fever, ma'am. I was just trying to break it. Zola walks over, her high heels clicking like a death march. She reaches out and slaps Nia across the face, a sharp, stinging sound that echoes in the quiet room. Kofi's eyes flare with a terrifying light. Don't lie to me. You're whispering to him. You think he can hear you? He's a husk. Tomorrow he's gone and so are you. Pack your rags and be out by dawn. Zola turns to Kofi, leaning down until her face is inches from his. Goodbye, Kofi. It's been a profitable engagement. As she turns to leave, she doesn't notice the tray on the side table rattle. She doesn't see Kofi's hand, trembling with a violent, supernatural effort, inching toward the edge of the wheelchair. The moment the door shuts, Nia collapses to her knees, clutching her bruised cheek. But she doesn't cry. She looks up at Kofi. His hand is no longer hidden. It is reaching. It is moving. Do it, sir. For both of us. With a sudden, sharp intake of breath, Kofi's arm sweeps across the space. His palm hits the bedside console with a dull thud. The device glows a bright, electric blue. A robotic voice fills the room. Identity confirmed. Welcome back, Mr. Adebayor. System override initiated. Downstairs, the lights in the study suddenly turn blood red. The heavy steel shutters on the windows begin to hiss as they slide shut, locking Zola and Marcus inside. The lion has stopped hiding in the grass. The hunt has begun. The sirens wail in the distance, a low hum that grows into a roar as blue and red lights dance against the closed steel shutters of the mansion. Inside the study, the air has turned cold. Zola screams, pounding her manicured fists against the reinforced oak door, but the electronic locks are dead. The house she once thought of as her playground has become her prison. Marcus paces the room like a trapped animal, his face pale, sweat soaking through his expensive silk shirt. The system is locked, Zola. Every exit, every window. It's all encrypted. Only Kofi could do this. But how? He can't move a finger. It's that girl. That wretched maid has done something. When I get out of here, I'll destroy her. Suddenly, the large monitor on the study wall flickers to life. It isn't the news or a movie. It is a live feed from the bedroom upstairs. The camera is crystal clear. Zola and Marcus freeze as they see Kofi. He is still in his chair, but his head is up. His eyes are fixed directly on the camera lens, staring into their souls with a cold, terrifying clarity. Beside him stands Nia, her hand resting firmly on his shoulder. Kofi's voice comes through the speakers. It is raspy, slow, and deep, like stones grinding together after years of silence. Forgot his house, his face. Zola stumbles back, hitting the desk. Kofi? No. It's a trick. It's a recording. Looking into the camera. It's no trick, Mrs. Adebayor. While you were out picking out jewelry for a funeral that hadn't happened yet, the master was waking up. You treated him like a shadow, so he learned to watch from the darkness. He heard everything. Every lie. Every plot. Every cent you stole. The front gates of the estate hiss open. Heavy boots thud on the driveway. The police, led by the commissioner, a man Kofi had once helped, burst into the foyer. They aren't there for a medical emergency. They are carrying folders of financial evidence that Nia had helped Kofi pull from his private servers just an hour before. Upstairs, the bedroom door opens. The commissioner enters and stops in his tracks. He looks at the billionaire he thought was a vegetable, then at the young woman in the simple apron who stood by him when the world turned its back. Mr. Adebayor. We received the digital files. The fraud, the attempted kidnapping, the poisoning of your medication. It's all here. Kofi looks at Nia. A small, genuine smile touches his lips. The first one in a long, long time. He reaches out, and this time his hand doesn't tremble. He takes Nia's hand and squeezes it. Kofi, take them away. The scene shifts to the hallway. Zola and Marcus are led out in handcuffs. The crowd at the gates, the same villagers who whispered about the ghost, are now cheering. As Zola is pushed toward the police van, she sees Nia standing on the balcony above. Zola's face twists with a final, ugly mask of regret. She realized she didn't just lose a fortune. She lost the only man who would have ever truly loved her, all because she couldn't see the king behind the pain. Months later, the mansion is no longer a tomb. The gardens are vibrant, filled with the laughter of children from the local village school that Kofi has just rebuilt. Kofi is walking now, slowly with a silver-topped cane, but he is walking. He stops by a bench where Nia is sitting, reading a book to her younger brother whose surgery was a success. Kofi sits beside her. They ask me why I didn't hire the best doctors in the world to wake me up. I tell them I did. They just didn't look like doctors. I only gave you the water, sir. You found the strength to drink it. No, Nia. You gave me a reason to stay. You treated a broken man like a king, and in return, you made me a man again. He hands her a small, simple envelope. No diamonds, no gold. Just a deed to a new medical clinic in her village, with her name on the front as the director. I can't accept this, Kofi. I was just doing what was right. And that is why you are the only one I trust to lead it. Love isn't what we take from the world, Nia. It's what we give back when the world is at its darkest. The camera pans out, leaving the two of them in the golden light of the afternoon sun. The rusted gates are gone, replaced by an open entrance that welcomes everyone. The lesson was learned. Regret is a ghost that haunts the greedy, but love is a crown that fits the humble. The following morning, the atmosphere at the Adebayor estate has completely shifted. The heavy, suffocating silence is gone, replaced by the sounds of construction and life. But while the physical walls are being repaired, the emotional aftermath is just beginning. Kofi stands in the center of his vast library, looking at a portrait of himself and Zola taken just weeks before the accident. In the painting he looks powerful, but Zola looks like she is already eyeing the crown. With a steady hand, Kofi takes the portrait off the wall and sets it leaning against the floor facing the wall. Nia enters carrying a tray with tea. She stops, seeing him standing unassisted for the longest period yet. Nia, you should be resting, sir. The doctor said your nerves are still healing. Kofi, nerves heal with movement, Nia. But memories, those take longer. Tell me, why did you stay? When the other servants left because they weren't being paid, why did you keep scrubbing floors for a man who couldn't even thank you? Nia sets the tray down and looks him in the eye, no longer as a servant, but as the woman who saved him. Nia, because my father used to say that you can tell the character of a person not by how they treat the powerful, but by how they protect the vulnerable. I saw a lion in a cage, Kofi. I couldn't walk away and let the hyenas eat him alive. Their moment is interrupted by a frantic knocking at the main entrance. The security team, now loyal and well-paid, tries to block someone from entering, but Kofi signals them to step back. It is Zola's mother, a woman who had ignored Kofi's existence since the accident, now dressed in rags compared to her usual finery. Zola's mother, crying, "Kofi, please. They've frozen all the accounts. They're taking the house I live in. Zola is in a cell and she says it's all a misunderstanding. Please have mercy on us." Kofi looks at the woman. He remembers how she used to visit the mansion only to ask for allowances, while he lay paralyzed upstairs, never once asking to see him. Kofi, mercy is for those who made a mistake. Zola didn't make a mistake, she made a choice. She chose to starve a man who gave her everything. You chose to look the other way while your daughter plotted a murder. The accounts remain frozen. Zola's mother, you're a monster. After everything we were to you. Kofi, no. I was a bank to you. Now the bank is closed. As the guards escort her out, Kofi turns to Nia. He realizes that his wealth had acted as a wall, keeping real people out and letting the vultures in. Kofi, I want to start the foundation. Not just for your village but for people like me, those who are trapped in their own bodies and have no one to speak for them. I want you to be the face of it, Nia. I want the world to see the heart that didn't have a price tag. Nia, I don't need a title, Kofi. I just want to make sure no one else is ever left in the dark like you were. The scene shifts to the local prison. Zola is sitting on a cold bench, her designer clothes replaced by a rough orange jumpsuit. Marcus is across from her in the visiting room, separated by glass. They are arguing, blaming each other for the failure of their plan. Zola, it was your idea to forge the signatures so early. We should have waited. Marcus, my idea? You're the one who treated the maid like a dog. If you had just been kind for 1 second, she wouldn't have been looking for ways to take us down. A guard taps on the glass. Time's up. As Zola is led back to her cell, she passes a small television in the common room. On the screen is Kofi. He is sitting on a panel looking healthy, vibrant, and deep in conversation with Nia. The headline reads, Billionaire credits local Maid for miraculous recovery and new national health initiative. Zola watches as Kofi takes Nia's hand on camera, showing the world where his true loyalty lies. The screen fades to black for her, but for Kofi and Nia, the lights are finally, permanently on. The sun sets behind the hills of the valley, painting the sky in shades of deep orange and purple. The Adebayor estate is no longer a fortress of secrets. It has become a home. Kofi stands on the terrace, no longer leaning on his cane. His recovery has been more than physical. It has been a rebirth. He hears the light footsteps of Nia behind him. She is dressed in a simple but elegant green dress, her hair flowing naturally. She looks at the horizon, the same horizon she used to watch from the servants' quarters, wondering if she'd ever see her village again. Do you remember the first day you walked into my room? I was praying for the lights to go out for good. I thought the world was a place where love was just a contract you signed. Walking to his side, I remember. I saw a man who had built a kingdom but had no one to share his heart with. I didn't see a billionaire, Kofi. I saw a soul that was shivering in the cold. Kofi turns to her, taking both of her hands in his. The calluses from her years of hard work are still there, and to him they are more beautiful than any silk Zola ever wore. Kofi, Zola loved the crown. The world loved the money. But you loved the ghost. You fed me when I was forgotten and you fought for me when I was silent. I spent my whole life building high-rises and tech empires, thinking that was success. I was wrong. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small wooden ring box. It isn't the flashing multi-million-dollar diamond he gave Zola in a crowded ballroom. He opens it to reveal a band made of rare, polished African ebony, inlaid with a modest, glowing gold thread. This wood is from the same trees in your village where we built the well. It is strong, it is deep-rooted, and it doesn't break under pressure. Just like you. Nia, I don't want a queen to sit on a throne. I want a partner to walk the earth with. Will you stay by my side not because you have to, but because you choose to? Tears shimmer in Nia's eyes, reflecting the evening stars. She looks at the man who has learned that the greatest power is vulnerability. I stayed when you had nothing, Kofi. I will stay now that you have everything. Because to me you were always everything. As he slides the ring onto her finger, the distant sound of the village drums begins to play. They aren't celebrating a merger or a stock price. They are celebrating a union of two souls who found each other in the wreckage of a tragedy. A year later, the camera pans through a vibrant community center. Kofi and Nia are seen laughing with elderly patients and playing with children. The story of the paralyzed billionaire and the maid who treated him like a king has become a legend told around fires in the valley. The screen slowly fades as the narrator's voice returns for one final thought. In the race for gold, many lose their way. They forget that the heart sees what the eyes miss. Zola had the world in her hands and lost it because of greed. Nia had nothing in her pockets but brought a dead man back to life with kindness. Remember this. A palace is just a house until it is filled with a love that asks for nothing in return. True royalty isn't born in a cradle of gold. It is grown in a heart of service. Kofi and Nia walk hand in hand toward the village gates, leaving the mansion behind as the lights of the valley twinkle like 1,000 tiny diamonds, far more precious than any Zola ever owned.